of compassion for the sake of this assembly and all living beings. Please turn the wonderful Dharma will to teach and guide us how to end birth and death, leave suffering and attain bliss, and quickly realize non-birth. Cung thính đại đức tăng thính, vì thứ pháp hội cấp nhất thiết chúng sanh. Tịnh chiến diệu pháp luân giao đạo ngã môn, như há liễu sanh thoát tư ly khổ đắc lạc, tất chứng vô sanh. Homage to the Blessed, Noble, and Perfectly Enlightened One. Namo Saranto Suche Doye Alahudi San Miao San Puto Xie. Namo Taktakta Toya Dadya Alahade Tamyo Tamboda Toa. The unsurpassed, profound, subtle, and wonderful Dharma in 100,000 million aeons is difficult to encounter. Now that I'm able to see and hear, I will receive and maintain it. I vow to fathom the thus come one's true and actual principles. Wu shang sheng she wei miao fa bai qian wan jie na zhōu yu, wo jin jie wen de shou chi yan jie ru lai zhen shi. O Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Venerable Jingliang, Venerable YongHua, Venerable Left Home people, and all good no advisors, Emitofuo. 诸佛菩萨、精良大士、师父上人、各位出家人、各位上居士，阿弥陀佛。Chư Phật Bồ Tát, kính thưa Thanh Lương Quốc sư, kính thưa Hòa thượng Điển Hoa, quý thầy cô và quý vị thiện chính thức A Di Đà Phật. Okay, today is the what day is today? The second? Only the second? It seemed like so long ago. Of 2021, we are here. Thank you for joining us in this Avatamsaka Sutra Preface discussion. It's the first such explanation of the year 2021, so thank you and welcome everyone. I have a chance to take a closer look at the people in San Jose. Are we in 102 right now? Huh? And it's amazing that you guys are scary. Why? How can you on earth? How on earth can you progress this quickly? I remember how tough it was for us at Lu Mountain Temple to bring people up to speed. And so whatever you're doing, I'm very, very pleased. Please keep it up. Even the oldest person she proclaims to be made some progress. And then the Losai husband also made progress. that's too much. And you must be doing something right. No, so please keep it up. We may be small, but we are trying to increase our wisdom and our understanding of the Mahayana. And so this Avatamsaka Sutra is a fantastic tool for us to do that because it represents the highest level of teaching in Buddhism, which is the perfect teaching. Okay, so we're very lucky. We are on during this Chanchi here that we have the chance to discuss both the Sixth Patriarch Sutra, which is Sunday night, that's tomorrow night in USA time, and the Avatamsaka Sutra. So you see, you have a bridge between the certain teaching, the Sixth Patriarch Sutra, to now we upgrade a little bit to a perfect teaching. So it's really fantastic. It pleases me to no end. I've been threatening to lecture on this for the last 10 years. And finally, we have a chance to do it. And the first lecture ever, I believe, was here. Huh? I think so. Huh? Is that correct? I don't remember. I'm too old now, and my memory is failing me. So it is incredible that we are able to have this opportunity to investigate this, because you don't know how difficult, how trying it is for us to prepare for these lectures. I have so much support, people translating, people doing slides for me, and they ran into all kinds of problems. Internet broke down, YouTube broke down, a computer broke down, and it's still going on right now. It's funny, because there's so much resistance, so many obstructions to our discussing this sutra. So surely it must be worth something to for them to cause so much trouble to us. And in a very small way, in the spirit of what my late Chinese master did, is he says that his job was to bring the proper Dharma to the West. What is the proper Dharma? Does anyone know what the proper Dharma is? No one? Yeah, microphone. Raise your hands until they see you.
Patriarch's teachings.
Patriarch's teachings. Yes. More precisely, what is the proper Dharma? Why do you call it proper Dharma and not something else? What are the characteristics of proper Dharma? That's what Master YongHua brought to this country. And that's what he did in 1960s, I believe, early 1960s, and he didn't start teaching until late 1960s. He didn't start propagating a proper Dharma until conditions ripened in the late 60s. And so what is this proper Dharma? Why is that it wasn't available before until he came to the U.S.? It's not words. What defines it? What characterizes it as a proper Dharma? YouTube answer.
Alta-D says it's Mahayana Wei-Yang.
Bless your heart. But no, it's more than that. What's a proper Dharma? Raise your hand so that they can see you and give you a microphone. We don't have more handheld. We cannot add more handheld. We should, because it saves time. If 1 minute of waiting on 100 people is a lot of wasted time. We don't want to do that. It's an offense. Yes, go ahead. Black.
So, Master, is that the Dharma is transmitted from the Sakyamuni Buddha to the Patriarchs down to the...
Yes, that's part of it. But you cannot really call, if you say just the transmission of Dharma to a certain person, then what's the difference between that and our generation and the next generation or my master's generation? What's the difference? Why would you call it proper Dharma? I rest my case. This is why I bring it up, because it's being lost again. The meaning of the proper Dharma is being lost again, because you don't even know it. And how on earth you're going to practice a proper Dharma? You don't even know what it is. YouTube answer.
Vicki says she agrees with Alta-D, but also wants to add no marks.
No marks. Yes, that's part of it, but it's still words. You see, you can throw as many words as you like at it, but it's still just words. The Dharma, proper Dharma is not words. Yes, YouTube.
Jewel Mountain says, proper Dharma means getting out of the wheel and can help the practitioner go as far as the highest potential the person has.
That sounds like something I said earlier, but it's getting hot. Yes, it's close. Very good. Anyone else? You erudite scholars, please tell me what's a proper Dharma? Those you have PhDs who are scholars in Mahayana, who know everything there is to know about Mahayana. What is a proper Dharma? Yes, Red, please.
Long Tao, like middle way.
It's a middle way, absolutely. That's a proper Dharma, yes. But it's more than that, more than a name. What is it? Wei Mao.
Master, does it have to do with having an enlightened people, like a living tradition, people who actually embody Mahayana properly and can transmit it?
Excellent. Very, very good. See, that's why even you go first, people, San Jose people can be proud of yourself, but we better in Los Angeles because we have the answers. You don't. The proper Dharma, by definition, okay? YouTube has an answer too? Okay.
So Michael Tang says to follow instructions.
Yes, all those. Yeah, it's very good, Michael. Still another answer? Okay, let's entertain all the answers. Yeah. Yes.
She says the core of the practice, which is Chan meditation.
Yes, that's part of it, yes. But so what? The next generation could say, like my generation could say that, yes, we practice Chan. So what? So do the Koreans. They say, I practice Son, the Korean version of Chan. So what's the big deal? What's the difference? You too, go ahead.
TK says the proper Dharma is the good knowing advisor.
Yes, that's also true. However, I'm looking for something else, more precise than that, because people can say, I'm a good no advisor. I am studying from good no advisor. So what's the difference? What differentiates this good no advisor from next good advisor, next good no advisor? Right? Yes, you too.
Mahayana collection says being able to end birth and death.
That's correct. Yes. Mahayana collections? Oh, yeah, I see. You guys are cheating. Go ahead, YouTube answer.
That's all the answers for now, Master.
What? Sorry.
That was all. Oh no, there's another answer that just came in from
Then
Alta-D
take down
Is.
YouTube answer. Yeah.
It is to, in accord with the Buddha's teaching and learn from the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas.
Okay, very good. Let's go back to the definition of what it is. Okay? The proper Dharma was defined as the 500 years after the Buddha entered Nirvana. Okay? And of course, during his time on our world as well, in our world as well. So during that time, what's essential characteristics? These people, so you have, first of all, the time period, right? There's a time period where they define as proper Dharma by default. If you happen to live in that time, what you practice would be the proper Dharma. Is it clear? Now, we're not there anymore, right? So now we are called the Dharma ending age, Dharma ending era. So it's no longer the proper Dharma. Then why did Master Hsuan say that I brought the proper Dharma to the US? Because of the second characteristic of the proper Dharma. During the time there, that the Buddha defined it as 500 years after he entered Nirvana. Okay, that's a time period. And then there's also another characteristics that defines it as proper Dharma. Yes, Black. Is it green? Not only am I losing my hearing, I'm also losing my eyesight as well. Welcome to old age. Green. Okay, now I see that.
People are actively practicing
Okay.
and
okay.
getting enlightened.
That's it. People getting enlightened. That's a proper Dharma. It's not a name. It is not a time period. Okay? The time period is that because it's implied in a time period, in that time period, these people practiced whatever the Dharma they're practicing, whatever they call it, Hinayana, Mahayana, doesn't matter, but they actually became enlightened. Okay? So, enlightened, remember, in Mahayana is minimum 4-stage Arhat. If you are below 4-stage Arhat, we don't look at you as enlightened at all. The Hinayana will look at you as enlightened when you are like first stage through third stage. You know, there's enlightenment, there's small enlightenment. For us, you basically are unenlightened, to be polite. So 4-stage Arhat is the minimum for it to be considered enlightened. Okay? So when Master Hsuan proclaimed that he brought the proper Dharma to the US, he actually trained a lot of disciples who were 4-stage Arhats and much higher. That's a proper Dharma. So you cannot call a Dharma as proper Dharma unless, what? The next generation becomes enlightened through that whatever Dharma you're teaching. Is it clear? So in Buddhism, in Mahayana, we don't beat around the bush. Okay, so when Master Hsuan said, I brought the proper Dharma to the United States, and he also proclaimed in the future the proper Dharma will be spread from the United States to all the countries in the world. He saw it already. Okay, so the point being that it doesn't matter what you call yourself. It doesn't matter what people call you. or revere you or how popular you are, what makes a monk a real monk or macho man, if you will. In my times, we have macho men and things like that. So what makes differentiates a monk is that the level of enlightenment of his disciples or her disciples. Okay, it's not something you can fake. It's not something you can sell. It's in you, not in us. Okay, right? So you can say, "Oh, I'm famous. I have a lot of followers. I have a big temple." But if your disciples are not enlightened, then what you're teaching is not the proper Dharma in our standards. Agree or disagree? It's that simple. You cannot beat around the bush. Okay? So now the pressure is on the monks, on the teachers. How on earth are we going to get you to become enlightened? All right? And what my master did, Master YongHua did, is a lot more than that. Not only did he bring the proper Dharma has a wide range. Okay? So what Master YongHua did was to bring the proper Dharma to the U.S., a very, very extensive range of proper Dharma to the U.S. Okay? The extensive part of the Dharma is that this particular sutra here. Okay? In a Chan school, we have a certain enlightenment to help you make progress and certify to the fruitions. Okay? But it is the Avatamsaka Sutra that delineates the range of the wisdom that you're going to have at your various levels of attainment. Okay, so Master YongHua brought the Dharma here, and then he brought a very, very quite high level of the proper Dharma to our countries as well. So it's something we should celebrate, rejoice, and be grateful for. Okay, so we're continuing that tradition. Tradition that we will investigate this sutra, and hopefully, as I promised you, the last 10 years, I've been talking about that. Maybe eventually, in about 10 years' time, when your level is a little bit higher, we add more to it so that we can add more, a little bit more advanced teachings from the sutra that my late Chinese teacher could only find time to do. Okay, so in a way, each generation, I feel that should add a little bit more. Okay, instead of just hiding in the coattail of the prior generation. That's why I challenge you that you yourself, okay, should make the resolve. I never had that proper training. I never had that proper teaching from my late Chinese teacher. He basically brought me in and taught me a few things and kicked me out. Okay? Never had a chance to ask him questions. Never had enough blessings to learn from him directly. His direct descendants had plenty of years with him, okay, and learned a lot of Dharma from him and so forth. I learned only a handful of things, but I challenge you, like I challenge myself, that I hope to be one day be able to add more to this, the learnings in English of this wonderful, wonderful sutra, okay, the Flower Adornment Sutra, and I hope, I challenge you, next generation, to do the same, okay. You add something I am not able to add. Honestly, I don't think for the next 20 years I'll be able to finish his sutra. We're too detailed. Look at that. We spent almost half an hour talking right now, just BSing, shooting the breeze, okay? But to me, it's important because unless, people use big words and they don't even know what they mean. Mahayana, we actually are very factual. We don't, just like in Chan, okay? We don't talk a lot, but we make, every time we speak, the words must carry some meaning. We don't want to waste your time and our time, okay? So even in the next 20 years of talking about this sutra, I doubt that we have time to finish this sutra. But I promise myself, I promise you, that we'll add more. We extend the range of this perfect teaching that my late Chinese master did not have a chance to do. Okay, so that's, in a way, that's our contribution, our second generation contribution to this Mahayana in the West. And I challenge you, third generation, to plan for that. Add more on top of mind, okay? So that this Mahayana wisdom eventually will be transmitted from China, all of it, to the US. Because right now, the Chinese scriptures is deeper than our people are able to understand. So Mahayana eventually is my hope that in the future, maybe in about 10 more generations, will be completely transmitted over. It's that hard. Because it gets more rarefied air, so you get higher and higher, it's a lot more difficult to find people interested in learning those things. Okay? So, and eventually, we will. I hope we will. So that's my challenge to you. We're doing this because we are ambitious in a very quiet way that's apt to the wisdom of this perfect teaching. All right? So anyway, but in order to do that, we need to train you so that we try to transfer the knowledge to you, to your generation, so that at least you have a chance to surpass us. Okay, that's my aspiration, my goal, my hope is that someday you'll be able to surpass me and my generation. Okay, just like my disciples, my simple goal when I started teaching is that just for fun, make sure that my disciples surpass his disciples. I know I can't surpass him, so I'm going to make sure my disciples surpass his disciples. My master is way too advanced for me, so I can't catch up with him. Yes, all right. Questions or comments? Okay. So when you listen to this sutra, by the way, it's not meant for you to understand. You can't understand this because, frankly, I don't understand it. You ask me, if you know how to ask me, you find out I don't understand anything. Okay? But I understand it more than you. How's that? A little bit more than you. So that's why we inch forward more and more each generation. Okay? So how do you listen to this sutra? Sutras like this? Again, there's no way for you to understand. Okay? All we're doing is to plant the seeds in your eighth consciousness so that one day, when these seeds mature, you will surpass us. Okay? It takes two things. Number one, the proper seeds. And number two, the conditions to make the seeds ripen. All right? So, how do you plant the proper seeds? The proper seeds requires two parts. Number one, the speaker. Number two, the listener. Okay? The speaker, you have no control over it. Okay? You can listen to that nun, that monk, and so forth. There's plenty of people who lecture the sutra. Okay? Plenty of people. So it's your choice. It's not much we can do so you have many choices. It's a good thing. However, on your part, you must do something that's very important when you listen to this perfect teaching. Okay, it's very simple. Am I digressing too much from the sutra? Should I move on to the real topic instead of shooting the breeze like this? It's very simple. Okay, I finish quickly and we move on to something that you don't understand. Listen to this type of profound, unfathomable teachings. You do one thing, it's very simple. Okay, I learned this very early on and I didn't appreciate it. A Bodhisattva came and taught me that when I first became a novice in the city of 10,000 Buddhas. A Bodhisattva came to me and said, I was bored out of my mind. Every night we listened to Master Shenhua's tapes and I hated it. Every night. They play the tapes and in Chinese, I didn't understand Chinese, so I was avidly looking forward to hear the English translation, okay? And every day is like that. Every night, from after the evening ceremony, which around, I don't know what's the schedule anymore, 6:30, 6 o'clock to 7:30, 6:30, 7:30. And after that, we sat down and listened to his tapes for an hour and a half every night. And it bored me. I mean, these Chinese, excuse me, are you any of you Chinese? Your Chinese English is horrible. My Chinese is horrible, the English is even worse. Let me put it that way. So I was bored. Why is that? Because I wanted to ask questions. So we listened to an hour and a half of lectures, of tapes, okay? And then we're given 5 minutes for questions and answers, okay? And it's translated from English to Chinese or Chinese to English. That leaves us 2.5 minutes worth of content, okay? So we press for time. And then we ask a question, it's not much time to ask questions or follow-up questions, and then we didn't hear the answers. I was very unhappy about that. So, luckily for me, usually when I'm unhappy, I tune out. I just go to sleep or something. But luckily for me, the Bodhisattva came to me and said, this is what you ought to do when you listen to sutras. Okay? So, what did he tell me? Would you like to know? Well, I might have forgotten. Well, let me have a little tea first. Lubricate my throat. He said, just listen. How profound. Just listen. Don't think. Don't think. Just listen. And finally, that's it. Just listen. Don't think. And finally, years later, when I'm teaching it to my disciples, I added one more thing that I did before. That's why that Bodhisattva did not teach me. Okay? Which is? Can we pass a donation basket around? This is when you pass it around. Sit still, don't move. Sit straight, sit still, don't move. That's it. That's how you listen to the proper Dharma. Questions? Sit straight. Is your posture straight? Are you sitting like a bell? Are you sitting like a bell? Stop moving. Don't wiggle when the legs hurt. It's 2 hours. If you do that, doesn't matter what I say. What happens is when you listen to the sutra here, we read it for you, I read it for you, those are the seats you want, not the BS I give you. See that? What I say doesn't matter anymore. How can I compare to the wisdom of the Buddhas or Master YongHua or Master Jingliang? Okay? It's no comparison. It's day and night. But the difference is that, yeah, anyone can read it. Anyone can, play the tape. Anyone can listen to the tape. Anyone can, listen to, watch this videotape and so forth. But are they generating the best possible seats for themselves or not? Okay, and you can do that yourselves by sitting still, full lotus, if possible. Okay, don't move, don't think. That's it. Isn't that fascinating? If you can do that, then you can go anywhere. You can go to, my competitors or my better competitors. Listen to them, get the same results because of the text, because of these words from the sages. Even though we're not sages, okay? If you do that, your seats are far superior quality seats. And so that's what Master YongHua did. He's hoping when he brought this Dharma to the U.S. that the seats planted will be a superior quality. Not just low level, Hinayana, Mahayana, in my humble opinion. You want Mahayana seats. It's all up to you. Okay? And if you have questions, of course, something intrigues you or fancies you, ask a question. It's perfectly okay and embarrasses. Okay? But the main thing is that stop thinking, stop moving, and bear it. Okay? So far, so good? So that's why when I speak Dharma, so I watch you and I see who doesn't move. And then that those people who don't move, I will make ways to make them move. To make it more challenging for them. All right? All right, we'll go back to slide 102, preface text. It's about doctrines in 10 profound subtlety. this is its intent, tallying true substance with the region of the 10,000 transformations, displaying virtuous marks in the doorway to the multiply profound. Didn't we have this before? It seems like I recognize this text. I'm sorry? We stopped here, so we didn't quite finish it. Okay, we stop here. Okay, that's fine. This is its intent. Commentary on slide 103. This is the intent of this perfect teaching. It's perfect teaching for the reason is that it teaches about the Dharma realm of non-obstruction. Okay, and the non-obstruction principles will be clearer later and later. Okay, so it's about non-obstruction of principles and instances, and then non-obstruction of instances and instances. Okay, instances. My master's disciples translated as specifics, so they can be used interchangeably. One has is better in some circumstances than the other, so it's okay. You can get used to the jargon. Principle is li, is the nomenon or the theory behind it. Instances is actually the applications of that, the specifics of each situation. Okay, so or specifics. All right. Next, 104. Tallying true substance with the region of 10,000 transformations. Okay, tallying here has meaning of meshing, has meaning of linking. Okay, so that they merge. Okay, this true substance of the Buddha nature, your self nature, with the region of 10,000 transformations. From the Buddha nature arise the 10,000 transformation. Okay, limitless transformation is meant by 10,000. Okay, so and that's why in this particular Avatamsaka Sutra teaching, it is you will learn more. We learn more about the concept of true emptiness, which is way beyond the fourth stage art's emptiness. Okay, yeah. And the wonderful existence. Okay, so the true emptiness is the Buddha nature, and from the Buddha nature arises countless transformations. That's what we call wonderful existence. You are a part of the wonderful existence. I'm part of the wonderful existence. We all share the same thing called the Buddha nature. So everything arose from that Buddha nature. Okay, so when I learned Mahayana, this is the first time that I learned about these concepts of true emptiness and wonderful existence in this particular sutra, and that's quite well elaborated. Okay, and that's called perfect teaching for that reason. So far, so good. So it's important. Even you don't understand what it is, eventually you will, and it's guaranteed. And so the concept of true emptiness is true emptiness is wonderful existence. Wonderful existence is true emptiness. One does not obstruct the others. YouTube question.
Tian Guo asks, Master, the Bodhisattva that taught you to listen, was it a person or someone appeared and then disappeared? How did you know it was a Bodhisattva, and what ground of Bodhisattva?
Well, he was, at that time he was 5th, and then later he became 8th. So he's a real person. 105. Commentary. Displaying virtuous marks in a doorway of the multiply profound. I'm glad someone is doing a translation. We're struggling so much ourselves, trying to translate this into English. and we don't have the language skills, to be honest with you. We're getting a lot of help from China, from people who are very good in translation, but they're not strong in the Dharma. So you have to give credit where credit is due. The DRBA is doing an excellent job, has done an excellent job of translating these basic jargons. Okay. Unfortunately, for some reason, they stopped translating these things because they say it's too difficult. If it's difficult, there's more reason for you to go at it. You can't say it's difficult, therefore I'm going to find something else more popular, like more fruitful, that brings in more disciples, more money, more temples, more reputation, better, more fame, and so forth. It's nonsense. Okay? Stick to what you are good at, because you have to look at the big picture. That's their strength, the skill set. My master, when I left, when Master YongHua died, I was there. I came in the last few months, hoping it would be 25 years, but he only gave me a few months before he died, and conned me into staying as well. So I was there, and then he assured us. He says, I gave my monks and nuns, disciples, instructions to do 3 things only to justify their existence. Number 1, translation of Chinese into English, Mahayana. Number 2, education, okay, meaning elementary school, high school, university. Number 3 is to train people, okay? So after 25 years later, what have they accomplished? The translation is outstanding. It's really, really good, okay? They created the jargon, the vocabulary for Mahayana in English. That is an incredible achievement, trust me, that my master started when he was still alive. Yeah? So he trained his disciples. When he came to the U.S., he started teaching. I heard that they had English and Chinese classes every day. So at first, these white people didn't understand. The yellow people didn't understand it either. So he trained them himself. So he set the standards of translation, and that's why the standards are very, very high, and the content is very impressive. Okay? They're unparalleled, I would put it that way. And so I think I gave it an A plus, something like that. Okay, and then education. I'm totally unimpressed with education. Okay, I remember sending my nuns and my lay women to go up to up north and to learn. Because we were interested in learning to do Sunday schools and so forth. So I wanted to learn. I never am interested in reinventing the wheel. Okay, it would be too boring. So I went up there, and they came back to me and they talked to the Master YongHua disciples and so forth. Very good people, very kind-hearted people, well-intentioned people, and they brought it back. But they came back and reported me a few times and a few things. I'm lazy. I decide very quickly I want to continue or not. And so they said something that caught my attention. They said that they're very kind. They opened the doors to the girls' schools, and they allowed us to watch them teach the students and so forth, even the elementary school and so forth. And we saw how disciplined the children were. They're so well behaved, you know. They barked orders and the children obeyed. And that immediately caught my attention. Because then the next comment that my girls, my nuns and my lay people, female lay people said, but you know what, Master? Our children are happier. We didn't know how to train children, teach children. But our children are so much happier. They're unruly, they scream, they yell, they run everywhere. But they're happier. They don't listen, but they're happier. They can be themselves. So I explained to them, I said, when you teach children, okay, you don't want to mold them into your own android, your own bot, robot. You let them develop in the way they want, the way that interests them. Okay? That's our role, is to encourage them to develop. That's what Master did for me in a very limited way. Let me tell you, I'm still bitter about it. But my point is that education, look at your children, okay? The reason that these nuns, I guess you don't have to agree with me, the reason these nuns are so authoritarian, so strict with the children, is because they're afraid that when the children misbehave and make a mistake, they can't recover. Right? That's why. That's how parents are. They're so afraid that their children will make a mistake that are not recoverable. Okay, it's fear. So if you teach with fear in your heart, then you are limiting the growth potential of your children, because you rather be in control. You're a control freak. It's not wisdom. You're not teaching with wisdom. You're teaching with fear and control. And that's why eventually your children become control freaks like you. You understand now why we're all control freaks? Because our parents were control freaks. And then their parents were control freaks. Agree or disagree? Let them be. Let them screw up. Enjoy it. It's more fun. YouTube question.
Tian Guo asks, I assume the children in your temple develop higher samadhi level than the children in CTTB school. Why so, Master?
You assume? What do you mean you assume? I resent that. They are higher level samadhis. What are you talking about? Why? I don't know. Well, I will take credit for it. It's funny. The children are putting so much pressure on the parents. My kids are sitting like 10 hours, 12 hours, and in the formless realm range, and the parents are dragging their feet. So it's funny. One kid, was born second dhyana, and then increased to third dhyana and went to fifth samadhi. And the mother, who was at second dhyana, immediately moved to third dhyana and then higher. So now is the case when the children are actually pulling the parents up. Isn't that cool? So, in a way, it's very good for the parents, and that children improve before they do. Okay, so that's why I feel that Master Hsuan's instruction for them in terms of education is not enough yet for them to understand how to educate, improve education. It's tremendous improvement already, but it's not quite what we Mahayana people hope it's going to be. Okay, so I give it a C. And of course, training, I give it I don't know, what shall we give it? Well, not very high. Okay, my point being that it's lower than a C, or a C minus, lower than a C minus. Your pick. That's how demanding we are in our worlds. There's no excuses. Okay. So that's why I'm going back to my point. My point is 3 things my master instructed them to do. The one thing they should realize they excelled at is translation. That's what I would have done. If they had the leadership and focused their production resources on doing translation, the whole group would be so much better off than now. Message. There's so many ways to skin the cat. I mean, gee, that's so violent. Okay. You don't necessarily have to do Chan. Heng Shu, what? He became enlightened, like Master Shurangama said, because he bowed. I hate bowing. But he became enlightened through bowing. I hope my white boy, I predict my white boy will also become enlightened. I certify you will become enlightened. I hope sooner than later. So otherwise, people will say we discriminate against white people. So just follow instructions. So, the main thing you have to understand is that we don't need to excel at everything. We need to recognize what you're good at, what you're capable of doing, and you do that. If they were to concentrate the resources on doing translation and finish the Avatamsaka Sutra, oh my God, they would have improved so much more. So much more. It's sad. It's a shame. It's lack of leadership, totally. It's just, who cares about temples? Since when do we care for temples? The Buddha, when he was here in the world, our world, did he care for temples? Since when do we care for temples? They had, his supporter has to say, hey, can I give you a Jeta Grove and build it for you? And we said, okay, if you wish. Our founder, Weishan Master, he cared for monasteries? No. The Prime Minister had to come back and build it for him. He said, don't bother me. It's not my job. Okay. Going back to the text. Commentary 105. Displaying virtuous marks in a doorway, multiply profound. God, what is this? I'm glad they're translating this. And by the way, for translation, I'm very grateful for the Chinese professionals are stepping in the game right now, okay? Do your best. It's okay. Master Shengwa has said it already. Just do the best. You give whatever we have, that's all we have. And the next generation, they improve on that, they improve on that, improve on that. So it's the same thing right now. We're improving on the English translation, okay? You don't have to translate the whole thing. We improve where they're lacking, where they're missing in their Master Shengwa's teachings. That's good enough. And next generation will keep improving that. So that's all you do, okay? Same thing. By the way, in the Chan teaching as well, we have to keep on improving because the translation from English to Chinese of my explanation are actually subpar. Same thing happening in Korea right now. Their translation is not that good. That's the way it is. But it takes more generations. We keep on getting better and better and better. Okay? So going back to 105, displaying virtues marks. This sutra helps us recognize what are virtues, okay? Meaning that which types of behaviors are virtuous behaviors, okay? In a doorway to, in the doorway means the keynotes, passageways, the multiply, profound. I don't even understand English, so I'm struggling here. Multiply, profound. So meaning that this is so profound in so many aspects that you can have to keep on digging and digging, and you still find that you don't understand until you become a Buddha. Then you understand. Okay, 106. Sutra text, preface text. Functions are legion and prolific, yet it is always such. Wisdom everywhere examines, yet it is forever still. So this is what Master Jing Yang says. He says in 107, functions are legion and prolific, yet it is always such. Functions, and this is another jargon that's used in this particular sutra. I learned about this word a long time ago when I first started. Use and function versus substance and so forth, and no one could really explain it to me. It's so annoying. So the understanding in English about functions and substance are very subpar. YouTube has a question. Go ahead.
Tian Guo asks, Master, what kind of audience do you think the English translation of Avatam is for? Who should be reading it? For scholars or non-believers?
It's for everyone. Even the boys who are lying on his back and in the room. Okay, the teaching in our world is through sound. Through sound that you become enlightened. Through sound your seeds are planted in you. That's the process of transferring knowledge and wisdom in our world through sound. Okay, so whoever can listen to the sound of the Dharma will get the seeds. So in particular, for example, there's some people who say, I don't have time, so at night I will play the tapes, play the recitations when I sleep, that's also planting seeds, by the way. Okay? But I wouldn't do that if I were married. Okay? There's time for everything. Don't be such a fanatic. But for example, if there are times when you are disturbed and you are unsettled, and you have a hard time falling asleep, I would play the video, the sutras or the mantras or Master Shenhua's tapes and so forth. Okay, that's much better than sitting there and counting sheep, which I often do. Too many worries. It's not as glamorous as you think. So the functions here, going back to 107, function here is from Chinese 作用, yong. So it means purpose, means ability. Okay. So it's a concept of substance versus function. Okay. Substance is the functions are legion and prolific, meaning great in numbers, yet it is always such, meaning that the true and unchanging nature of all the 10,000 things is always the way it is. We marvel at it. Actually, is nothing new to the people in the know. So functions are not separate from substance. Okay? Don't try to understand, because don't embarrass me. 108. Wisdom everywhere examines that, yet it is forever still. Wisdom everywhere examines. Okay? What does it mean to wisdom everywhere examines? How does wisdom examine? What is wisdom? I have a problem with the word examines. Okay? 去臭, what is this Chinese character? I forgot. Jiàn. What does it mean, jiàn? Huh? What does it mean? That's why I objected to this translation. I feel this person is too literary. They don't understand the concept behind this, what Master Qingliang is trying to convey. What does this mean? Someone tell me quickly. Tell us quickly, what does this character mean? I think I looked it up last year, but I forgot. Huh? Red.
It could mean exams. It can also mean distinguish. Also, it can mean observe. And because jiàn as a verb, it can also mean a mirror.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. That I appreciate. Thanks for your help. Okay. What they chose to do in this translation show this person doesn't know what she's doing, what he's doing. Okay? So syntactically, this jiàn, Chinese character, means examine. Okay? But the key meaning is the last one that Jane said, to reflect, to mirror. Okay? And this is what this wisdom does. It doesn't examine. It illuminates. It makes it clearer. Okay, so to say examine doesn't make sense. Examine is a very narrow sense of wisdom. Wisdom does not examine. Wisdom does not need to examine. If they know, they understand wisdom, they will never use this word examine. If you have wisdom, you don't need to examine. Wisdom is like you shine this bright light in your face. And you see the pores, you see, the big pores and the wrinkles and the foundations and the makeup. You can't hide it. And all you have to do is shine this bright light on it. And that's it. It's no examination. You see, you understand the analogy? You examine because? Why? Why do people examine?
Because you're distinguish, yeah, 分别.
Excellent. 分别. You discriminate. That's why you use the word examine. Let me examine it, okay? Because you are discriminating. You are thinking. You are processing. And that's not wisdom. You agree? Chinese people. And so this tells me immediately that these people, they don't understand wisdom at all. This Chu here is not examined. Okay? It's to illuminate, to reflect, to illuminate. Primarily, it's an analogy for illumination. The mirror illuminates, brightens. Okay? That's the function of wisdom, is to illuminate the dark corners in your mind. It's not to examine. It's nothing to examine. If we shine a light in the dark corners in your mind, like this sutra does, then you see clearer, that's all. Then you understand naturally without thinking, without processing, without analyzing, without examining. Is that clear? So wisdom in everywhere, okay? Everywhere here is a key word. What does everywhere means? Zhōu is actually not everywhere. The Chinese is very profound. It's so beautiful, and it's no way to translate it. Yeah, zhōu is all around. Meaning what? Complete. What else?
Exhaustive.
Huh?
Exhaustively.
Exhaustively. What else?
Round.
Circular. What else? Can you see the back? Can you see my back? Can you see my back as you're looking at me? You can't, right? I can't see your back either. But wisdom can see my back. See that? The Chinese is so profound. It's zhōu, meaning that wisdom looks. You have no wisdom. That's why you look, you only see one side of the coin. Wisdom sees also the other side of the coin. That's called wisdom. The Chinese is beautiful. Can you see that? It's not everywhere. It is in its entirety. It's not everywhere. It's its entirety. When he looks at this thing here, okay, it sees the whole thing. All the dimensions, all the aspects. Boom! It's no examination. Okay? Not everywhere, but all the angles, all the aspects, meaning what? It's multidimensional. Wisdom is multidimensional. Your mind is linear. Right? You say, ask Tuan, he'll tell you. What he thinks about things. He said, well, let me see. First is A, and then there's B, and there's C. Should I get going? Yeah, please. Yeah, I have all the time in the world. And then we get to Z, and then let me see. Oh, you see? And that's not wisdom. Sorry. YouTube answer, yeah.
Jewel Mountain says it is without missing anywhere.
Yes, very good. Keep it up, Koreans. I'm actually Korean, you're falling behind. Okay? That's why you need help. We need to send you some help. So don't scare my help. I don't want to see him for another year. You hear? If you don't treat him well and he runs back to me, I will not be happy. Please be kind and gentle. He's very fragile, lonely. I remember when I first started myself as well. You know, like Vietnamese says, đơn thương độc mã. What does it say? What does it mean in English? Đơn thương. You have one long lance, and then you have one horse on your side. That's all you have. So, so that's it's a chance for you Koreans to practice kindness and compassion. And I warned him already. I said, "You're not coming back." Even it's funny. I made this comment today at lunch because you guys might have missed last night's Chan lecture. Because even my master Shurangama, we listened to his tape for the first, by chance. It was not planned. And for the first lecture of the year, and he says, so his comments. I said, "Why you talk to me like that?" and then I realized today, as I was driving, on the way, and I said, "Oh, it's not for me. I shouldn't get upset. It's for him." YouTube answer.
Emily says it's transparent.
No, it's not transparent. What she's referring to, the zhōu, Chinese zhōu, is that what happened is that we are limited so that we cannot see all the dimensions, all the angles, okay? So we have to move. You have to move from this angle to the next angle, next angle, next angle, before you get a 3D, okay, view of the thing, okay? Whereas wisdom, boom, not only 3D, but ND, MD, I mean. You can see all the aspects just like that. How do you know? Ask them a question, they answer you. Okay? They know it's there. It's not obvious until someone wants to find out. YouTube answer.
Brady says it's all-encompassing.
Yes. But you see, my point here is that this particular, see, first I praise them. I say, yes, your English, your language is excellent. And I admit that they're far superior to anything I've seen in the world. It's true. That's why it's an A. Okay? But what happened, I think, is that the top disciples took their eyes off the ball. You watch football? You know, the quarterback? You girls don't know what it is, right? Do you? I'm a little bit sexist. The quarterback threw a football at the receiver. The receiver catches it, flies up in the air, and catches it, and lands down. Oh, then we all say, "Oh, yeah." That makes us happy. Ecstatic. Yeah. So to accomplish that feat requires concentration, requires commitment, requires training, okay? And so what happened is that I'm trying to remind them in the most humble way, implore them in a most humble way to go back to their strengths, okay? Too late for them to train people. Too late for them to do education. Way too late. For the last 25 years, I observed them. If you haven't done anything, it's not going to change. But the translation now is being ignored in favor of, getting more temples and stuff like that. It's baloney. Who cares? Okay. And I know the top of their people would not make this mistake. Wisdom everywhere examined. That's baloney. No such a thing. Wisdom doesn't do that. Okay? Yeah. The zhōu translated into everywhere is nonsense. And jiàn everywhere to examine is too literary. It's not a functional wisdom. It shows that the people in charge of this translation, this section here, don't understand wisdom. And the people on top who certify this should have caught it. Yes, YouTube has a question.
Tian Guo asks, there is a saying in Chinese which is changing the consciousness to wisdom for the enlightened one. Can Master explain this concept?
I don't know. Wait until I become enlightened. How's that? What's there to explain? It's right there. Geez, these Chinese people. Consciousness. You're aware of something, it's called consciousness, yes? You're aware of the heat, you're aware of the cold, you're aware of the smell of food. Why, I'm hungry again. Why is that? Says that's consciousness, okay? And that awareness there, if you cultivate, you practice, and you follow instructions, that awareness is actually a function of your wisdom. It's a manifestation of your wisdom. Okay? It will become wisdom. Okay? When you are able to do it right. That's all. That's all it means. Okay? It's not something that can be explained. It's something that you will find out for yourself when you're there. And the Buddha's disciples, all of them who became enlightened, never contradicted the Buddha. So don't worry about understanding. You just it's something you cannot understand, and you look at those bodhisattvas and those arhats. Do they negate that or not? Otherwise, those idiots or scholars who say otherwise, it's because they don't have wisdom. That's all. Question, YouTube.
Tian Guo asks, what about the wisdom that is manifested? Is it present in all dimensions?
We hope so. Why don't you open your wisdom and find out? How many dimensions can you see? It suffices to say that the more wisdom, the more dimensions you can see. All right? But that's still low level. I only simplify it for you because wisdom is a lot more than that. It helps you. This is zhōu jiàn here to help you. I only explained to you the zhōu. I didn't explain to you the jiàn yet, on purpose, because we don't want to get lost. The jiàn also has a special meaning as well, and it's not examined. It suffices to tell you, I demonstrated that the understanding of the Chinese words here shows that these people need help to translate properly. Okay, but still, they did the linguistics part. Okay, that because otherwise we wouldn't know what to do. Okay, so I hope that even though there are a small group of people who are helping me translate this in a section that they have not translated, we try, but I know we'll be still need quite subpar. But at least we get started and we will not make this mistake of using the wrong jargon, okay, for these important concepts. All right? So, 就见而常净. So it says, so it's able to see, it's able to perceive everything without moving. It's as simple as that. Remember the concept, you look around, you have to move, you change your perspective before you can see more, okay? More and more, so that you can see totally, and then you have to go up, you have to go down. You see that? So that's what zhōu jiàn does. And yet, you know all that without having to move. You see that? That's the first very shallow explanation of that, using the same analogy. Okay? Well, actually, it's more than that. The jing here is not about stillness. It's not about the angles. It's about what is it about? It's because, yes.
Sorry. It's you're not being affected by the external things that the mirror is seeing or reflecting.
Yes, but that's too tiny of a aspect of it. Yes, Red.
In a scientific examination, when you examine something, you use a medium. But when you use this medium, actually you disturb the things being observed. So my guess is using wisdom, you can observe without disturb the system.
No, and that's the limitation of your approach, by the way. If you were doing scientific research, I'll come to that in a few moments. If it's not clear to you, remind me, okay? That's a very poor way of doing scientific research, in my humble opinion. Yes, continue.
Master, could it be the awareness?
Yes. I can't say no to her. Yes, Chumang.
Does it mean to illuminate not just inside but others too?
Eliminate what? Illuminate inside or outside too? Okay. No, not that. You see? Yeah. Second chance.
You're not trying to illuminate.
No. Stop it. You're trying too hard. Anyone else? My second stage Arhat.
A Di Đà Phật, theo con nghĩ đây là cái sự hiểu biết trực tiếp mà do cái chân tâm nó do chân tâm, chứ không phải là có cái thức nó chen vào.
I like it. Make sure you say good things about us, huh? When you see Amitabha Buddha. That we treat you very nicely, huh? Anyone else? It's okay. It's very simple. You see, it shows that this concept is still foreign to most of you. Forever still, meaning that no thoughts arises. That's all. It refers to once you become enlightened, you see your nature, your Buddha nature, you realize that it's eternally still. It never moved. Never, ever. Your Buddha nature is still right now. It's only because you can't see it. That's why you don't realize it's still. Once you become enlightened, you see that your nature is still. Totally. Okay? Your substance is still. You can move, you can talk, you can scream, you can yell. Okay? But your substance doesn't move. You see that? Isn't that beautiful? Huh? You're capable of that. You are doing it right now. You just don't know it. Yeah, cool. You are still right now. Why are you fidgeting? Huh? Only because you forgot. That's all. Once you get back, you see your Buddha nature and say, so fundamentally has always been the case. Then you're free. You can move when you want, and you don't have to move when you don't want to. Right now you have no choice. You fidget. YouTube.
Alta-D Is, the Sixth Patriarch Sutra says that the Buddha nature is impermanent, Master. Why do you say it's completely still?
Because I'm not the sixth patriarch. What else? You have to ask him. I can only teach you what I know. Because if I say the same thing, I'm just pretending to be sixth patriarch, am I not? YouTube question.
Alta-D Is, then Master Shurangama said that he explains differently for people depending on whether they are attached to permanence or impermanence. How can I be still if my nature is impermanent?
I have no idea. Any more questions? Come on, Alta-D, give me your best. I'm unmoving. So if the sixth patriarch says it's permanent, okay. He says impermanent, okay. What else you want? In neither? Okay. So Master Shurangama is correct. The sixth patriarch said those things is in order to help the idiot, not us. We're not idiots, so it doesn't apply to us. What's that guy's name again? Sixth patriarch. Shen Hui, the young smart aleck. Yeah. He knows too much. He read too many things, and he cannot be taught. You open your mouth, he's saying, no. You know, this sutra says just exact opposite. Okay, so it's fascinating how the sixth patriarch taught him. That's what's not clear in that sutra, is that there's a lot more going on behind the scene than you know. And so that's why only the sixth patriarch can talk to him like that. And you cannot say that sixth patriarch says so, and therefore I can tell you the same thing. No, it's a lot more than that. If I say that, then it doesn't work because I'm not the sixth patriarch, and you're not Shen Hui. So it's meant for us to enjoy, like watching a movie that reenacted what happened transpired between the sixth patriarch and Shen Hui, And you say, oh wow, it's so cool, he did that. Okay? But the director's intention is not clear to you. Right? You only see the two actors acting, but you don't know what the message from the director is. What's his purpose? That's what it is. It's a lot more going on behind this movie scene than just just say, oh, he said so, she said so. No, it's a lot more interesting. Okay. Good questions, but stupid questions. Forever still. So, okay, in tranquility is somehow tonight I decided to give you more details. It's not tranquility. It just doesn't move. Okay, Chinese is very, very precise. It's so beautiful. 109. Preface text. 7. Sudden transcendence, benefit, accomplishment. Truth and falseness interlink and mingle. Within an ordinary mind, one sees the Buddha mind. Instances and principle are together cultivated. One relies on basic wisdom to seek the Buddha's wisdom. There's an E missing, I think. Okay? Not on, but one relies on basic wisdom to seek the Buddha's wisdom. Okay. 110. Truth and falseness interlink and mingle. It is the middle way in that the truth and falseness, okay, are not separate. There's no truth unless there's falseness. There's no falseness unless there's truth. There's no Eve without Adam. You don't understand? Me neither. It just sounded good. It's called kissing up to the listeners who are Catholic. Is Daniel there? I only have one Catholic who comes, so I need to cater to him as well before we lose him. Okay, so in the perfect teaching, if you have that ultimate wisdom, you see that truth and falseness are the same. The same thing. See this? The same thing. Same hand. You see the back side of the hand, and then you now see the palm of the hand. Okay? It's the same thing. It's one hand, but you see different aspects of it. That's all. One aspect is called true. The other aspect is called false. That's all. Even enlightened people, low-level enlightened people, they still see them as separate. Okay? In perfect teaching, if they are like that, they are not capable of comprehending the perfect teaching. In perfect teaching, one and the same. Okay? It's not meant for you to understand. It's meant for you to listen to it and say, oh wow, in the future, that's what I will understand. Don't try to explain it. Okay? Interlink and mingle. Okay? Jiao is they are in contact. So you look closely. How can you distinguish between true and false anymore if they're like this. Jiao is this, okay? Jiao. Okay? Meaning they're not separate. They are touching, they're contiguous, they're adjacent. Okay? Zhōu. Zhōu is thoroughly like this. See this? The Chinese is beautiful. Jiao is you have they're connected like this. Zhōu is thoroughly. You only see this, actually they're connected like this. See this? And it's called magic. It's magical. There's no way to translate this. You see how beautiful it is. It's connected, but actually totally. It's nothing that's not connected. So not only the tips, but also the first phalanx, second, third, fourth, and so forth. That's Jiao Che. Superior Chinese. We cannot explain this. You like? Oh, you're unimpressed. Oh my God, that's my best for tonight. I'm giving up. I gave up. You guys are just too advanced for me. YouTube question. Go ahead.
Alta-D asks, is it similar to how you said that the more enlightened you are, the more evil you are, because they are two sides of the same coin?
Right. So, for example, remember we started tonight by saying that fourth stage Arhat are enlightened, yes? Okay, and they're enlightened because they can see and experience emptiness, okay? They experience emptiness, not true emptiness. Emptiness is quite a ways from true emptiness, okay? It's so far away from true emptiness. But they experience emptiness, which is wisdom, because unless you have that, you cannot go any further. Below that, it's impossible to talk to you. Okay? So they experience that. And as they are trained further, they begin to see true emptiness. Okay? But unfortunately, at the true emptiness level, actually there are three levels. One is low level, like the Bodhisattva who taught me how to listen to sutras initially. And then second level is called Mahasattvas. Their level of wisdom is way beyond the lower levels. Okay, and then beyond the Mahasattva, there's the Buddhas, which is everything, which I don't understand. Okay, so that's why even in Mahayana world, enlightenment has so many gradations. Okay, they're not the same. YouTube question.
Alta-D asks, does falseness and evil need to exist for truth and proper Dharma to exist?
Yeah, I hope so. I don't know. Yeah, something that I don't understand. Within the ordinary mind, oh, is there one more? Go ahead, YouTube. Oh, thank you, Lord. Within the ordinary mind, one sees the Buddha mind. Okay? An ordinary mind. Okay? 即凡心, 即现佛心. 凡心 here is the mind, our minds, our stupid minds, our confused mind. Within the Chinese is very, very polite. They say 凡, which is ordinary or common. But in Buddhism, it's only two minds. Either you confuse or you enlighten. Because when you confuse, they call it ordinary mind. When you enlighten, that's when you see the Buddha mind. Is that clear? The Buddha mind here refers to the enlightened mind. All right? Just to simplify it for you. Okay, so he says, within the ordinary mind, one sees the Buddha mind. Okay, who is this one here? Fan xin er jiàn fu xin. And this is where the translation doesn't do a good job, relaying the meaning of the Chinese. Okay, the jiàn in Chinese, okay, has very special meaning. It translates into see. Okay, so what to translate that as to see is misleading to the people who don't know otherwise. Okay, so what he's referring in Chinese is, let's forget about this English thing here. It says here, 即凡心而见佛心. It says, in this confused mind of yours, your ordinary mind, your mind right now, our minds right now, in our mind right now, our brilliant mind, I might add, donation box, sign, okay? We need to work better. Your teamwork has to improve a lot more. Okay, so in this mind, our minds, okay, there is this Buddha mind. So the jiàn here is actually, you can detect the Buddha mind. It's not see. Jiàn in Chinese Buddhism, in Mahayana jargon, jiàn is actually means hear, means seeing, means feeling, means thinking, means all those things. Okay? One is aware of the Buddha mind, if you will. Okay, you can detect the Buddha mind. But if you translate it like that, it's ugly. So the Chinese is very elegant. You say, it's so Chinese, it's so beautiful. And if you translate it, you lose the conciseness, the poetry of this beautiful language, which is suited for Mahayana, and our language is not. I'm sorry, we don't hold a candle to it. English is way too vulgar. The Chinese is so subtle, so profound, so multidimensional. Okay? One Chinese character, jiàn, carries so many meanings in their designs, in their culture, in the original teaching, which now is lost. And hey, Chinese girl, did they simplify the jiàn now, or in the simplified Chinese, did they modify this or not?
I think it's probably xiàn, not really jiàn. It's xiàn. It's it's a different sound. It's more like
xiàn.
shows
No,
or
jiàn. It's
exposes.
It's not xiàn. It's jiàn. Xiàn is wrong.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
So what Trin said, it has a point, because in the old Chinese, jiàn and xiàn sometimes they interchangeably used. 通假字.
Your old Chinese is way off.
I think it's not, from my understanding, it doesn't really have that clear meaning of seeing. And then there's not a one there. There's the subject is very it's not clear in the sentence. I think this is too much translates into one sees. It's pretty different from that meaning. There's no one and there's no see, from what I understand.
If you're forcing me to quote another sutra, I'm no scholar, and you forcing me to reveal my shallowness, my stupidity. Jiàn here came from the Shurangama Sutra. So the Buddha defined jiàn in Shurangama Sutra as all the sensory organs. So in that sutra, when the Buddha says jiàn, when you see the word, when you look at the word, when you detect the word see, actually it's sensory organs, it's not seeing. That's why even the Chinese are confused. Unless, so this jiàn character is used a lot in the Chinese scriptures, okay? But to understand its meaning, you have to go back to the definition in the Shurangama Sutra, which most Chinese don't read, don't investigate. That's why this jiàn here, you Chinese lost it. You no longer understand the meaning of the word jiàn. Okay? Because the Buddha, when he explained it in the Shurangama Sutra, he says jiàn here actually involves also sensory organs. Actually, it's a lot more than that. Because it starts with the sensory organs, and then you transcend the sensory organs. Okay? That's in the jiàn. I don't think Master Shurangama explains that clearly in the Shurangama Sutra. He could have, but I think it was good enough for the audience he had back then. So he says here, don't worry about it. In your mind right now, the message is in your mind, okay? In your mind. In your mind right now, in our minds right now. The people of wisdom, yes, read.
Or is it like awakening? It's like your mind and you're awakening as a Buddha nature?
No, it's not awakening. It's that, here's what happens. In our confused mind, okay? The Buddha looks at our confused mind. Does he say, oh my God, oh Lord, why me? Why are you doing here? Why am I wasting my time with you? It's supposed to be insulting. Don't smile, don't laugh. You're supposed to feel insulted. Okay? Look at how serious the Koreans are. They're not even laughing. I don't envy you, my boy. They're too serious. Look at, no one is laughing except for one. Look at that two. The other three, the other is yawning. I don't know why you're talking about. Where was I? Oh, yeah. So what you see? So he says, this is kind of interesting. He says, what the Master Dieu Nga is trying to tell us. He says that, you know, in our mind, in your minds right now, okay, if you have wisdom, then you see that your mind is the same as the Buddha's mind, no matter how confused you are. It's fantastic. It's unlike, I have a friend who's very rich, by the way. At least he thinks he's very rich. I've seen far richer people, okay? I talk to far richer people, ate with far richer people, but he thinks he's very rich. Anyway, good friend of mine. So he knows he's rich. He knows how to make money, a lot of money, every year. He just told me recently, this past year, 2020, my income doubled. I said, only double? My disciples, their company increased 600%, 300-400%. Yours only double? What's wrong with you? Didn't take good advantage of the pandemic. Inferior. So this guy here, to him it's very simple. He looks at you, he says, you poor and rich. He's very simple. Look at you and say, what kind of car do you drive? Your clothes. My Korean disciple, just look at your clothes, it's poor. Okay? They look at your clothes. Not my friend. My friend doesn't dress well, so poor. You ask me, poor, very poor. But my Korean disciples, he says, brought her to Fashion Island, South Coast Plaza, after we first went to JCPenney. She went to South Coast Plaza and said, this is my kind of store. He went in, but I have this, let me take this, let me take that. And, she got so excited. You see? So, you see, these people cannot go beyond their world. And the Buddha, the world, his world is so fast. He says, wow. People complain about you, your ordinary mind, but I see a Buddha mind. That's what this message means. That's all. You have the Buddha mind. Do not let anyone else tell you otherwise. Because the Buddha certifies it right here. And Master Jing Liang reminds us. If you have wisdom at all, you see the Buddha mind everywhere. I don't, by the way. I always ask, why me, O Lord? Why didn't the second Patriarch explain all this to you? 111. Last minute. I can't imagine I could go through 2 hours with you. Because honestly, I didn't know what to tell you when I first came in. What happened? Why so many people? I never saw any of them before. How am I going to explain this sutra to you? Scary people. I was scared, trust me. You noticed me when I was bowing? Actually, I was shaking. My hands loose. Yes.
I see that when I give you a tea.
Yeah, I know. I pretend to be cool. I was going. What's your name again? He drives a white Prius. Jian, you get my drift? And that's my white boy right there. I've been abusing him since forever. Because he has a Buddha mind. 111, last one, okay? Promise, this is it. I can't wait to get out of here. Oh, shucks. Oh, it's more? Okay, 2 more. Can we do that? May I? Okay. Complain. Ungrateful people. Okay. It is so nice. It says, if you hear people complain, why are these people so stupid? It's because those people who complain are so stupid themselves. Okay? Let's get that straight. Okay. 111. Instances and principles are together cultivated. Okay. What it means is that, I don't care. I'm out of time. Please ignore all that. Okay. What it means is that in Mahayana, okay, principles and specifics or instances are cultivated together. Okay, we explain to you this sutra. That's called principles, right? And then what do? We tell you to sit still. That's specifics. You see that? They're all together. Unless you explain them together like that, there's no way for you to understand. Can you see that? No, you can't. It's a pretend. I was pretending I'm shaking only. Okay. Finally, 112. Okay. Don't read that slide. Let me tell you what I want to say. Basically, oh yeah, of course, you will become Buddha. Thank you. Let's get out of here. Any final questions? Yes, Red.
I think you mentioned what do you want to say about jiàn? You were saying that.
What?
You were saying that you need to get back to the point when jiàn answered the question around scientific way of thinking. You asked us to remind you.
I asked her to remind me. I was very clear about that. I never asked any smart aleck. Scientific research. You guys are so stuck on empirical data. And that's very, very self-limiting. Because you will not arrive at a principle until you have enough data. That's called instances. Instances. And then you extrapolate, you come up with an equation or the principle. Okay? Scientifically, that's what they do. They collect all these data points and they try to fit a curve over that. More or less. At least for the advanced scientists, researchers. Okay? That is still too slow. Too slow. Too self-limiting. Why is it self-limiting? Because you depend on these data points. Can you see that? You need to collect data points after data points. Otherwise, your peers will not recognize it. Otherwise, your peer would say that this vaccine hasn't met the rigorous scientific requirements for it to be certified. Meanwhile, people are still dying. Okay? It's great, but then it has weaknesses. Okay? So that's the problem with scientific research in general. Okay? Let me propose to you a better way to do scientific research, if I may. Using wisdom. Instead of solely depending on the data points. Collecting data points can be misleading, it's very time-consuming. Whereas you have, instead of doing that, before you, while in that process collecting data points, meditate. Meditate, meditate, improve your wisdom level. Then, lo and behold, your collection of data points is far more efficient. You know where to go, you know where to look, because it's called wisdom. And then you know what the principle is supposed to be. You have a hunch. You know what to do. That's the ultimate scientific research, in my humble opinion. It requires meditation, requires Buddhism. So my point being that you researchers, you scientists, if you want to really make a humongous breakthrough in your field, okay? You need meditation. Otherwise, all you do is small steps, baby steps. You depend on data only, baby steps. That would have not helped Einstein come up with that theory, whatever that's called. That's how scientific I am. How could you laugh at me like that? You got it? You remember? Like Einstein came up with that, not gravity, you idiot. Relativity. I was waiting to see who's going to laugh at my face. And I know how. Now. I know who it is now. Honesty is the worst policy possible. Okay. So it is said that Einstein came up with that theory of relativity with no data points. Okay? It's only 2 decades later, then the scientists were able to collect data points to prove his theory to be valid. Right? That's what I call wisdom. You can see it. You write this thing here, now here. It's just like these Indian mathematicians. They just say, oh, this is a theory. This is the formula. Because Vishnu gave it to him. They cheated. Yeah. Numerical analysis, the Indians are numero uno. No one beats them. You know why? Why not? Vishnu is on their side. They pray to Vishnu. Vishnu, please give me another formula. That's numerical analysis. Isn't that cool? Now you know the Indian secret. You want to be number one in numerical analysis, move to India and worship Vishnu. That's the secret. Okay? Thank you, everyone. It's been real. And we lazy. Usually, my master would say, "We lazy." I do it for you. Stop wasting time. Let's go shopping. Go home. But we do want to do a rebirth transference. That's much more important to me, to us, because then we are generating rebirth blessings ourselves. Okay, so let's do that. Spend a few minutes doing a rebirth transference, please. Okay. Did I say so much about these things? Next time, let's not go back. 1:13. Okay. Thank you. Rebirth transference.